Hey there, thanks for clicking on this episode. Is Barcelona at war with its own players? Join me as I dig deep to uncover the real reasons FC Barcelona is struggling to retain players for more than one season. But before we get into the video, please like and subscribe to help support the channel. Now let's get into it. It's no secret that Barcelona FC has been facing some tough times lately. After years of dominating the football scene, the Catalan giants have found themselves in a rut, struggling to keep up with the pace of other top-tier teams, both in La Liga and the rest of Europe. This 2024-2025 season has already been particularly rough, with issues like Dani Olmo's registration problems, along with the recent departure of Ilkay Gundogan back to his former club, Manchester City, after just one season at the club. So, what's really going on, and what's behind this sudden decline? One major issue plaguing Barcelona FC is their financial troubles. The club has been bleeding money for years, thanks to a combination of poor investments, overspending on players, and a bloated wage bill. This has left them with limited resources to invest in new talent, forcing them to rely on their academy graduates and free transfers. Another problem is the questionable management decisions, which have been met with widespread criticism from both fans and pundits alike. The appointment of Xavi as manager, for instance, has been seen as a step backwards for many fans, given his lack of experience and tactical flexibility. Of course, there's the issue of player performance. We've seen some of the team's biggest stars like Robert Lewandowski and Pedri struggle to find their form, leading to a lack of cohesion and consistency on the pitch. It's not just one or two areas where the team is falling short. The problems are far-reaching. Just about 4 weeks ago, reports from various sources close to FC Barcelona suggested that the club was just moments away from achieving the three key objectives the board had set for the 2024 summer transfer window. First, the club would announce its purchase of star Spanish winger Nico Williams from Athletic Club for the amount of his roughly €60 million release clause. Second, Barca would announce a substantial cash influx resulting from the delayed closure of a controversial investment deal that remained unresolved since the summer of 2023. Third, with the second step complete and Barca's books brought into compliance with financial fair play FFP regulations, La Liga would grant the club permission to operate under the so-called one-to-one rule, allowing Barcelona to spend money in equal proportion to the funds it generated through sales or salary reductions. This strategy was to help facilitate the club's registration of Williams' salary. If executed well, the club could even go out and get Spanish attacker Dani Olmo from RB Leipzig too. As of the making of this video, at least 75% of Barcelona's summer objective has already turned out to be a sham, which, considering the current state of Barcelona's business dealings, might not be entirely surprising. The club had never actually been close to signing Williams, especially without any credible assurances that Barca could register his contract. Williams was understandably reluctant to leave his beloved home club where he enjoys playing alongside his brother. The anticipated cash influx turned out to be an embarrassing partnership with the controversial American stadium vending company Aramark. This deal brought in minimal revenue, approximately 1/5 of the financial hole in Barcelona's account, and only a third of what would have been required to meet Williams' release clause under FFP's one-to-one rule. In addition, La Liga still hasn't reinstated the club's eligibility of the one-to-one rule because Barcelona has neither closed the financial gap nor significantly reduced its wage bill. Instead, the club has mostly generated a lot of noise without any significant action. Let's be honest, a return to the one-to-one rule would still not have made Williams' registration possible. The rule permits spending in equal proportion to new income or new savings. In order to spend what Williams would cost, the club would have to raise the full amount for Williams. Let's come back to that in a second. So while all of Williams' transfer issues was unfolding, Barcelona on the other hand successfully completed the transfer of Dani Olmo from Leipzig for approximately 65 million euros with add-ons on August 9th of 2024. Mind you, this transfer was completed despite the club's inability to register the salaries of some players already present at the club. As it stands, Dani Olmo has already missed Barcelona's first two fixtures against Valencia and Athletic Club and almost faced the prospect of not having their new signing available for their third fixture against Rayo Vallecano. Luckily for the Catalan Giants, they were able to complete the registration of Dani Olmo and the player was able to make his debut in the league game against Rayo Vallecano, where he scored the match-winning goal on the night. Initially, the club released an official statement citing Olmo's absence in the squad is due to lack of fitness and sufficient training with the first team. Well, maybe that's true, but it's also important to know that he had not yet been registered with La Liga for about a month after his signing. The recent news of Ilkay Gundogan returning to his former club Manchester City after just one season with Barcelona reflects the deep issues plaguing this club. It appears that Gundogan was pushed out to create room in the budget for the registration of Dani Olmo by effectively reallocating the funds recovered from the Man City player's salary. This strategy has become an annual ritual. At some point, club executives will make a lousy public attempt to undermine a player or players, pressuring them to accept an exit on the club's terms in order to generate money for new signings. The only surprising aspect of this routine is the sudden targeting of Gundogan, a player the club pursued for at least 2 years before securing him on a free transfer last summer. And he was arguably Barca's standout and most reliable player in most of the 2023-2024 season. Another unfortunate example of Barcelona's poor recruitment strategy is directed towards 19-year-old Brazilian forward Vitor Roque. Barca sporting director Deco rushed Roque's acquisition in January of 2023, reportedly to satisfy club president Joan Laporta's desire for a high-profile Brazilian signing to compete with Real Madrid's acquisition of 18-year-old Endrick. This decision was made despite then-manager Xavi's clear preference for using the club's limited January transfer budget to secure a reliable defensive midfielder. Roque, a promising talent with a natural goal-scoring instinct, joined from Atletico Paranaense, a club with a playing style significantly different from Barcelona's. Unfortunately, he was quickly relegated to the bench. This summer, the club assigned his jersey number to rising star Lamine Yamal. This scenario is kinda similar to the transfer of Donny van de Beek to Manchester United back in the summer of 2020, a case in which a club still acquires a player despite the manager's disapproval. Speaking to a few Barcelona supporters, they are growing tired with the lack of direction when it comes to recruitment. Barcelona, a club that was famously known for its elite academy that has produced many of the world's best, is now resorting to free agents to assemble a squad. The case of Gundogan and Roque surely won't be the last of the cycle. Speaking of Manchester United, this is at least the third summer in which Barcelona has tried to fuel rumors that Manchester United wants to break the bank to acquire midfielder Frenkie de Jong, who clearly has no desire to leave and has been sidelined for months due to a severe ankle injury. According to the club's affiliated media outlets, numerous clubs in England and Saudi Arabia are supposedly eager to acquire forward Rafinha. Summer of 2023 saw one of the club's most frequent targets for transfer window games, Ousmane Dembele, finally depart from Barcelona, despite the club's desire to retain him. Dembele's contract clause was activated and resulted in the club receiving only a small fraction of his true market value. Players like Ansu Fati, Eric Garcia, and Pablo Torre all opted for loans last summer, which helped the club reduce their wage expenses. However, However, all three players have returned this summer, with their transfer values remaining largely unchanged and their positions within the squad no more secure than they were a year ago. This harsh treatment of players is likely a major factor in the complications the club faces in its business operations. Take, for example, Frenkie de Jong, who earns a substantial salary at Barcelona largely because he agreed to salary deferrals during the COVID-19 pandemic, a time when the club faced significant financial challenges. Instead of being recognized for his loyalty, de Jong has since faced harsh public campaigns from the club aimed at renegotiating those deferrals, often portraying him in the media as selfish for simply honoring his contract. If you were, say, Fatih or Clement Longley right now, contractually entitled to a wage no other club in Europe would ever consider offering you, would you agree to defer part of that salary to help the club out this summer, knowing how the club turned on de Jong after he did the same? This situation raises serious questions about trust and loyalty within the club's culture, making it more difficult to recruit talent in the future. Given Barcelona's current financial state of affairs, one would imagine the club having to welcome any and all willing player departures, even without the ability to replace the outgoings. Despite its financial struggles, there is still optimism for the future. Barca is incredibly fortunate to possess a wealth of young, homegrown talent, ensuring that the team could easily compete for a top 4 finish in La Liga. This makes the acquisition of Olmo and the subsequent treatment of Gundogan and Rogue particularly frustrating. It feels as though Laporta and Deco have opted for a flashy signing when they are unable to adequately support the players they already have. What if Barcelona made no signings this past summer and maximized the squad they already had? In this instance, Barca could have used Gundogan as the perfect seasoned professional to provide experience and structure within the team. Also, players like Rogue will be seen as a raw talent, learning under the experience of Robert Lewandowski, whose contract expiration next summer is set to relieve the club of approximately 34 million euros from its wage bill. Although Barcelona has shown some major improvements since the start of the campaign under new German manager Hansi Flick, after winning their first 2 opening games and registering a 7-0 win against Rayo Vallecano, Barcelona fans are hoping this is a start of a stable and bright future. However, this optimism is short-lived when fans do remember Barcelona's current leadership under Laporta and Deco, which lacks the foresight and accountability needed. The root cause of Barcelona FC's struggles, in my opinion, is a lack of clear direction and vision from the top. The club's president, Joan Laporta, has been criticized for his inability to provide a coherent strategy for his team's future, leaving the coaching staff and players unclear about what's expected of them. This lack of clarity has filtered down to every level of the club, from the boardroom to the dressing room, creating a sense of uncertainty and unease that's hard to shake. With their biggest rivals, Real Madrid, continuing to attract the biggest players on the planet, notably the most recent acquisition of Kylian Mbappe from Paris Saint-Germain, Barcelona fans are worried their club will continue to regress into the shadows. In summary, the club needs to take a long, hard look at itself and make some tough decisions if it's going to turn things around. So, what do you think about the current challenges Barcelona is facing? As always, please share your thoughts in the comment section, and thank you for watching.